So it's Sunday morning, time for another Wardy's Waffle Farm update. You can see I'm not at home again. I'm in York at the moment. A lot of people around. I'm at the museum gardens in York. There is a rally on foot here, and I've been asked if I come and support it, which is great. So I'm going to come and say a few words and march with them. So yeah, this update back onto farm stuff, but a few things looking around the farm here, looking at crops. We've obviously been away, things have moved on a little bit. We've had sugar beet go as well, so we're looking at sugar beet going into the factory. Anyway, need to crack on now because you can see people are behind me. So hope you enjoy this update. Thanks ever so much watching, and if we see you here or if you see me here, please say hello, and if you said hello, thanks very much for that. Always good to see viewers of the channel, and thanks for everybody's support with YouTube and also with all the protests around the country. We need to keep going with this. Anyway, I must crack on now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the end. There's a lot of deer again on this field. They seem to live in these trees here, and we have a pheasant feeder just up there in a gap in the hedge just up there. One of those big blue barrels, we fill it with wheat, and they're using those as well. And also I've noticed that they're making a heck of a mess of the lanes. When you look here, when I say a heck of a mess, to me it looks a mess because we never have any soil on these lanes. And if you look here, they're just bringing soil out all on these lanes. They need to come with a shovel and just take this off, because once all this is run in, these tracks, it soon degrades them. I actually thought it was agronomist or cousin Michael that was doing this, walking the fields and walking out, but no, I don't think it is. I won't blame him for this. Yeah, you can see where Nala is there. There's bits of mud all along here. But first time out looking at these fields since I'm back from South Africa, and soon be ready for some nitrogen when they dry up a little bit. Normally you get to about the 20th of February and we start to look at putting nitrogen on just to wake the crops up. Not a lot, but just a little bit just to get them started. Always makes me laugh when Nala does that. She's seen or smelt a mouse or a shrew or something in the long grass. Come on, Nala. Come on. Good girl. Yeah, someone mentioned about this weather station a bit ago, and this is one that is linked to Agri, Agri's network. That's the company who we used to have our iFarms sort of open days and all our trials linked with. We're not doing those anymore. And it's got a probe in the ground. You can see there, that wire going in the ground there. So it's got a probe in the ground there that gets soil temperature. It gets wind speed. You've got a little solar panel there to power it. Gets wind speed, wind direction, rainfall, humidity, various things like that. Really useful. And obviously look at it on a phone as well. And it's in a lovely open spot here, so it's not affected by anything. So it gets the rainfall absolutely dead on, wind speed, wind direction, everything. So it's in a really good location. Really useful. We have one of these here, and then we've got a Sencrop weather station, another part of the farm, that I'll talk about that when we get to it. So this is the information I can get on my phone. You can just see here, the screenshot I'm showing you now, that you can go back in all previous years to get rainfall. You can get months, you can get days as well, wind speed, wind direction, and a whole load of things. Really good that we're able to access this stuff, and without information like that, would be really difficult to sort of plan and see what we're doing. And quite often, I know Ruben and Tom go on there and the Sencrop one and look at wind speed and wind direction to decide if they're at home and it's a weekend whether they need to come in and do some spraying. So it's really useful having that, just to see whether the weather conditions are sort of too strong for spraying. So see a few cars here behind me. We're just having a meeting about the future of these beans, the Capulet beans, and the Godiva and the Olivia, what we do with them. And so on the call, we'll go through this in a few minutes, but we've got Eric and Roseanne from Warwick University, and we've got Steve, who some of you know, you recognise Steve, you know him from the trials we've done. Steve Corbett, Rebecca and Justin from Agri. We're going to talk about all the future of those. We'll have a word with those in a minute. Anyway, I'm just going in now just to have a word with Tom and Ruben, because they've got the Simba drill out, but also in the shed behind me they've got some of the Godiva beans. We want to get them weighed to actually see how many we've got, but we'll just have a look at this in here because they've got the Simba drill and starting to do some repair work on that. So here's the drill, and we've actually taken the markers off the side. There's one on that side and there's one on that side because we don't use the markers anymore with GPS. and they're quite heavy. So they've taken the markers off and they're just looking at, we were going to take all the pipes off, all these pipes that go back, but they've just had an idea of, we were on about these turnbuckles. They're a pain in the backside to alter for these back harrows, because you have to use this spanner to alter. You can see the screw there and there, and so put rams on it to make it a lot more adjustable, a lot more easy to use. So there we've got 6 red rams, 6 rams out the horse collection, so probably going to look at see if we can put those on and make it work. So these are the markers they've just taken off. The drill looks so much better with them off, and I've weighed them and it's nearly half a ton for the 2 of them here. So we'll put those in another shed and keep them. Not that we'll ever use them anymore, but that's 2 markers off. Just see all the extra hydraulics they're using, weight and everything, much better with them removed. So we're just going to have a look in here and just see how much of the Godiva bean seed we've got. So Tom's just moving the Puma out the way. Nala's getting a little bit excited over here. There's either a rat or a mouse in here. What is it, Nala? So we're just going to get these lifted out. Here's the beans in here. These are the golden ones. So what have we got here? Let me get off it. Nala, come on off. Good girl. She weighs about 30 kilos. 460, 440. Brilliant. Just out looking at some of the wheat. This is the later drill wheat, drilled 15th of November, that one was. That's okay. This is after sugar beet, and that's looking all right. But this area isn't, and this is where we had one of the sugar beet heaps. Those regular viewers remember we put sugar beet on the field because that concrete area there had got the planings on, which it still has, but it won't have next year, or rather this next summer, because we're going to get them spread on the lanes hopefully May time. I've got to ring up the person who's going to come and do it with a Barber Green or your tarmac laying machine. But yeah, it just shows how wet the soil is generally. I don't think I've seen this patch as wet as this before. It was dragged, but the rain we've had over the last few weeks has really stayed in the soil. It's really wet here, so we haven't cropped this area and we won't do. These are the tarmac planings that came off the A17, the road just outside the farm when it was resurfaced about 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And so these are all going to go on these farm tracks now. We're going to get a Barber Green machine or tarmac laying machine to put them through to do it properly, and then this concrete will be clear. And then we've got a little bit of topsoil there that's going to the poultry unit up the road. They want some topsoil to go down the side of the concrete road, so that's going to go there. We're going to give them that, get rid of that, and then a bit of gravel there to put in some drains. Then this concrete will be free, because that field there is coming sugar beet this year. It's about 33 acres, so that field's coming sugar beet, and it will go on this concrete. Just shows here a good example of how these grass margins, how wide they are, and the benefit to wildlife. Actually 7, sorry, because you've got 6 metres of margin, and you've got 1 metre of what they call cross compliance on the dike top. So you've got 7 metres, the dike, which is probably 4, and then you've got another 7 there. So that's 18 metres altogether, and that's all grown up. Great wildlife corridors these are, all over the farm. I'm just heading up to the heath now. I've just pulled in the yard and we're just loading sugar beet. I'm not quite sure how much is left, but we've had 25 odd load up until today, and then I think Ruben was having 11 or 12 loads today, so we're probably going to be 35 odd loads. And I'm not quite sure what the lift did when we went to South Africa, but it'd be good to get this sugar beet away. We have some more left in the field up here, so one more visit with the harvesting contractor should just get it up and into the yard and get me done. So we'll just see what's left here in the yard. I've just come up to the heath because we've had some sugar beet lifted while I was in South Africa, or maybe just before we left actually. Maybe it's the day before we left when we were in London. And Ruben's been loading it the last 2 or 3 days, and we've had I think we've had 37 loads away, and we've just brought some beet up from the glebe from the other farm that Tom's got in a trailer. So Ruben's just clearing up the concrete and soil. So there's about 2 ton in there that was been down on the concrete since November time, early December maybe. So we're just tipping that up, and then that beet there, we've got some more in the field here to get out the ground. Only about 20 acres, 25 acres there. And then you can just see the white bits over the hedge. That's where the cereals event's going to be. And some of this sugar beet on the far side towards that hedge we need to grass down for car park. You can see here the beet. We'll have a look at this because this has been lifted 3 months, a bit more. This on the front of the trailer, 1.5 tons there. You can just see there, not quite such good condition, but it'll mix in, it'll be fine, and they'll slice it at the factory fine compared to the beet there that's lifted about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So Ruben's just moving the cleaner away, clearing up the yard now. You can see there's tops here and all sorts when you look at it. Bit of everything. It doesn't want to be in the factory, so we're just moving this away. And then all that soil there, Ruben will spread on the field. There is talk of next Tuesday, Wednesday, talk of a -3 frost. So we'll try and spread it then if we can, because otherwise it will lather the forklift up. It'll be terrible spreading soil out here if we go out today and do it. It's really soft with the trailers bringing all the beet in through here. And we would just push that out from when the trailers were bringing it in. But you can see the amount of soil here, huge amount. So Ruben's just moving this out of the way and getting ready for when we've got sugar beet next time. There's the yard entrance. This is the road, or one of the entrances that those of you coming to the cereals event will use, down here. And then just here we've got one of our fields that's got cover crop on it, and we've got some sheep came on it again while we're in South Africa. We'll just step over here and just have a look. This fencing is on, but I won't touch it. So this is mainly radish here. There is a little bit of oats as well were in the mix that they're eating, but they're not liking this radish very much by the look of it. And there's only 140 here. Really ought to have a few more here looking at this. They're not making much impression on this, unless it's because they're not a big fan of the radish. I'm not sure. But there's fenced off half the field, so there's fenced off at 25 acres here, and then from the middle of the field towards the trees is another 25 acres. So it will be good to get all this eaten off. But then we have another field just through into the yard here, just to the side of that hedge, and that's the field where we're having the beans this year, the Capulet, Godiva and Olivia beans this coming year. It's Thursday evening. I'm in London again at the Grassland and Arable Awards. Thanks very much to the Agronomist and Arable magazine for inviting me. This is what's going on. I'm not being nominated for an award, I've just been invited as the magazine's guest, so thanks very much for the invitation. We should have a great night, and then I'm heading back in the morning, back on the train, back south, back to Newark, spending more time in Newark at the minute, sorry, in London at the minute than I'm in Lincolnshire. Anyway, get on down here, we keep being called.
Every single time we meet, there are so many kind of external forces that shape farming's fortune, whether it's good old Rachel Reeves,
Boo!
It is with great pleasure that I announce the name of Lord Curry of Kirkhale as the recipient of the National Arable and Grassland Outstanding Award this year, or better known to all of us as Don Curry. A farmer's son, Don left school at 16, and over a number of years he built up a highly successful farming business in Northumberland. A man very much with mud on his boots. Don then chaired the Meat and Livestock Commission through the 1990s, and he faced the challenge of BSE, and he was very much the voice that helped to re-establish confidence in British beef globally.
Your outstanding achievement winner, Lord Curry of Kirkhill, and thanks to Mary Graves.
And sort out who's happening where.
Perfect. It certainly does not. So we've arrived at York Minster. Stunning building, and I'm not quite sure what it's how it compares to Lincoln Cathedral. I know Lincoln Cathedral started to be built in, was it 1017 or something, and it took 300 years to build, and it was the tallest building in the world. So I'm not sure about this one. So we're just stopped now, and I think now we're going to have the speeches, so I'll have to go forward. But very interesting. I've just been sort of walking at the back 50 yards behind, and the amount of the public that were sort of talking as we'd all gone past them. And one couple I heard say, do they not want an NHS? So I had to stop and just explain to them that the money that anything generates like this inheritance tax will not go to the NHS. It's going to go abroad to foreign farmers, because that's what's happening already. So I think we do have a duty to actually engage with the public and explain a lot of things to them, because some of them still don't understand.
I'm not a farmer, but I earn a living as an auctioneer and valuer in Yorkshire, and I'm here representing a lot of people that rely on you for a living, and they're out there, and you need to canvass their support as well. I work with farmers every day, family businesses of all shapes and sizes, and they're all worried, not afraid of long hours and hard work. People who are prepared to accept a low rate of return for the hours and the capital that you've got invested. Why? Because you're building something for the future. Something for the next generation. So why, Kia, Rachel in accounts, whoever's responsible, why are you biting the hand that feeds? Get that message across. You're biting the hand that feeds. These are the people who feed you every day. There was food there in the lockdown, the pandemic. You were there, and there was a secure food supply, and this is how you're being rewarded.
Anyway, thank you for those of you who came to the 19th of November we had in London. Really appreciated that. That was just the start of what we are going to do, and it's great to see you here today. And I think at the moment, we all know farming at the moment is in the toughest period, I think, that it's ever been since the Second World War. It's massively, massively tough out there. And this is why we're all fighting what we're doing. We have massive public support. We have huge public support at the moment. Make no mistake of that. We must keep that. Just when we were walking through here, I was at the very back, and I stayed 50 yards behind, and I heard some of the public were commenting. One couple said, do they not realise that we need an NHS? I'm sorry, I had to step in and spend 5 minutes talking to them that our money is not going to the NHS, which I'll touch on in a minute. Every one of you here has a duty, please, to counteract a lot of the rubbish that's out there. We've already heard today about pay your tax comments that's all over social media. Do not let that go unchallenged. Please, it's vital that we educate the public as to what we're doing. Some of them think that we are trying to get out of paying every tax. We're not. We've already heard from the accountant and from Andrew what we do with tax. We pay tax more than probably most other people. So please don't forget that. Also, when we start to look at the amount of stress and the strains that we have, farming is a stressful battle. That's what we do, producing food, putting food on people's plates. Every day of the week, we are used to stress. We are used to battles. The government are not. They're only just starting. So please remember that. It's in our blood. Now, it's not just about APR, BPR, and that sort of thing that we're all fighting for, an inheritance tax. There was a whole load of measures announced in the budget that's massively crippling for farming. So please don't just think it's the two things. There's a lot of other things coming around the corner as well. There's one that was announced 2 days ago. You might not have heard of it, and it's about shotguns. They are now saying that they will not allow anybody to keep shotguns at home. They are going to be centrally located in various places around the country. That is another proposal. That is another attack on the countryside that we will not allow. And also, have you heard as well, in the spring statement coming up, the 7-year rule, gifting rule that is currently there, that is rumoured they're going to scrap that. So the 7-year rule that we're all hoping we're going to live by will be gone. That is another rumour that's happening. So if you think it's bad now, be prepared, because it could get one hell of a lot worse. Also, it's not just farmers affected. There's a huge number out there. When farmers make a profit, what do? We spend it. So how many people and industries benefit on the back of farmers? You've got pubs, you've got vets, hotels, car dealerships, tractor dealerships, machinery spare parts dealerships. So many people benefit on the back of a profitable farming industry. It's not just farmers. And I heard only 2 days ago, a nationwide plumbing organisation, wholesalers, have put up their costs by 4% just to cover the NIC contributions that they're now going to have to make. That's 4% on top of their standard charges. And we heard Starmer 2 days ago mention the NHS in the same breath as IHT. It's absolutely scandalous. He has now pitched farming against the National Health Service and trying to drive a wedge between the public. We will not let that happen. It's scandalous because he said that, do we want the NHS or do we want a tax break for farmers? Further giving grief to farmers and the countryside. The revenue that this inheritance tax, they say, on their own words, and we know that's wrong, is going to bring in is £550 million. That is enough to run the NHS for 20 hours. How the hell is that going to make a difference to waiting times? It's not. The day after the budget, they announced they're going to be giving £536 million to foreign farmers and farming communities abroad. So it's just scandalous to think that they're going to use our money to improve the NHS. And everybody here walking around the back, if you're stood listening to this and you're not a farmer, please remember this, that our money is not going to help your NHS. It's going abroad.
Somebody you see at the auction mart or at the dealership or anything, please look after each other. At the end of the day, we are going to stop this, because it will end. Just please look after each other while we do it. Thank you very much.
So I've just got back from York. It's Saturday afternoon, 5 o'clock-ish, and can't be long because we've got the Lincolnshire Young Farmers 50th anniversary ball at the Lincolnshire Showground tonight, so that should be a good event supporting young farmers. Just while we're talking about young farmers, don't forget that for the cereals event that we're hosting on June the 11th and 12th, we've got a young farmers area in the middle of the show site. It's about a 50.2 hectare area, so it's 125 acres altogether, the site. I will do a full feature on this in the next week or so, because tickets are out now, registration is open. I will have a special link for people to register to get discount codes on that. So please watch this maybe in the next week or so, and I'll get all that sorted out and let you know what that is. But yeah, there's going to be a young farmers area, and there's also a Wardy's Waffle Bar next to the Young Farmers area. So lots of new things happening at the Seals event this year, which will be fantastic, but we'll talk more about that in due course. Anyway, you've got the Simba drill behind me. You saw early on in this clip and this update what we're doing to the drill. We're doing a lot of work on it, renovations, upgrades on it, various bits and bobs. So I'll just flick the camera around and just show you one or two things that we're doing. So you saw the ram that we're replacing this turnbuckle with here, and where's the ram gone? Oh, the ram's here, over here. Let me just get this again and just show you the ram's on the bench here. Luckily, this is in our sort of batch of horse spares that we've got. We've still got quite a lot of spares that we need to get rid of, but this is the ram that we're going to, or one of the rams we're going to replace this turnbuckle with. There was a bracket on there that you saw that it fastens onto. I went to Bailey Trailers a couple of days ago. They're lasering me out some brackets, so we're going to put that ram on there like that. And hang on a minute, so it'll be similar to that. That'll be taken off, 2 brackets on there to fasten it up. Well, that'll be fastened around there, and then it'll be hydraulics will work these back harrows, which will be a lot better. And we'll change all of these adjusters there. There's 2 on each section, so you've got harrows there. That's on the wing that folds up. You've got another harrow there that's been taken off. There are the tines from it. Tom's just doing a few jobs to that, and there's the other one. So we'll replace all these turnbuckles there with rams. So they've all got to have these lugs. So that lug's got to be cut off there, and hang on a minute, let's get it that there. Move slightly, and another one welded up so we can get the ram in there like that, which will make it much better. Then another job we're doing, we've got some cracks in this front rubber roller. So Reuben and Tom have taken the roller off the other day when I was down in London, I think it was. You can see that roller fits in there for the depth at the front. This one's been taken out here. Should be one in this section here. Here are the brackets for it and the wire scraper there to keep it clean. So that's the roller that fits in. But some of the tyres have split. You can see there, one's split. You can see there, and there's another one here, split, and then there's one underneath that's got a massive sort of hole in it like that. That's underneath. So we're going to try and change those, but we have got some tyres in the other shed, had a few years. I'm not quite sure whether they're fitting up, but somehow this is going to be a job because we've got to get those tyres off that tube and then change these. That's another job that we're doing. And then one or two other little things to get it ready. You can just see if I can focus in that tube there. You can see that tube squashed flat, bit of a kink in it. I'm going to change that. A few other things, get it titivated up and get it ready. But the main job is those rams instead of the turnbuckles, because they're a pain in the backside. We'll have to get spanners out, as you saw, to change those, and then get this roller replaced as well. So quite a few jobs. Good chance to get these done in the workshop. Weather's bad outside, cold. Get the heater struck up here, and because the workshop's insulated, it's quite a pleasant working environment in here. So that's it for the end of this Sunday's update. Hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks ever so much for watching, and hope you all have a good week, whatever you're doing. Not a lot going on the land at the minute because of the weather at the moment, and just on the train coming back from York, I'll just see between Doncaster and Newark, the fields look exceptionally wet. A lot of water stood about. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching, and we'll see you as ever midweek.